Welcome to the Get Fit with Me, expanding your physical and mental fitness group. This group is for individuals who are ready to expand both their physical and mental fitness while helping and supporting others with similar goals all along the way. This new Thursday time, or this week's new Thursday time, kind of is different for me. I kind of like the noon time. If you guys are watching and you like the noon time, there will possibly be a flexibility if you guys like the noontime more than the 3 that we could possibly change it around. So just let me know your input. Is 3 better or is noon better? I kind of like it a little bit. Before we get started, I want to welcome 5 new members into the group. We have Sheris, Patrick, Katie, Pam, and Adriana. Super excited to have you guys here. Each week, this group grows bigger and bigger. We create a larger community for us to just support each other. So before we get actually into all of it, I have some reminders, updates, just news essentially that I want to share with you guys before we move on to the topic. We get to know everybody and we do everything we do every Thursday. So today, next week, I will be showing up for you guys on Thursday as usual. I am unsure about the time right now. I am going to be traveling to Arizona next Thursday. So between their time, our time, it may be a really early call or a really late call based on the time my flight is. So make sure that you have your notifications turned on for the group. If you don't know how to do that, drop group in the comments right now and I will help you with that. And make sure you also sign up for our email list. If you are unsure, drop email and I will double check. If you haven't been getting them, sometimes they go to the spam. So be on the lookout for that. Next week, we will have another time change for our Thursday training. So I want to make sure you guys know when that is and have you guys can just get the information before the time happens and you realize you've missed it. So that is update number 1. Update number 2, in about 3 weeks, I will be announcing something big that is happening in my life and it's a big turn in my business. So be on the lookout for about 3 weeks from now. I'll be doing the announcement for it. We have a program that's getting ready to launch middle of November. Big things are coming, especially as the holiday season comes. So make sure you have those notifications turned on, those emails. If you want help with any of it, either drop group or email, and I will help you make sure it'll all set up how you want it to, so you get the most out of this group. So if you're watching live right now, hashtag live and let me know you're there. If you're watching the replay later on, drop hashtag replay and let me know. And we have Kathy on with us right now. How are you today, Kathy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Looking forward to another session.
Yay, I'm happy to have you back. Is noontime a pretty good time for you?
Yeah, actually it works real well for me.
Good. Yeah, I have some schedule kind of changing around on Thursday, so I'm going to get input from everyone, and as long as it works on my side and your guys' side, we may be doing a time change at the first of the year, so it's good to keep in mind what works for everybody. Kathy, you want to introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and then what are you working on this week? Is it anything in your life? What are you working on?
My name is Kathy. I live in Lansing, and I'm working on getting stronger. I've been working out quite a bit lately, and I'm just adding weight to my weights and stuff like that, and to my workout, trying to do a little longer, but being smart about it.
Good. Are you working with someone for this, or are you doing some of this on your own as well?
Both. I am definitely still working out at the Y in Laura's classes. And then I also, because of the weather and stuff, I've been doing a lot of yard work, which, 3 months ago I could barely breathe with my asthma, and now I'm doing phenomenal. So it's just really, really good to get out there and do stuff. And then every evening, my neighbor and I walk the neighborhood, and we usually walk like a mile and a half. So it's really kind of nice just to get with her and catch up on things and exercise at the same time.
I love that. I love that you're able to get outside, do some of that yard work now that your asthma's a little bit better, that you have a friend that you can go walk with, especially while we're in the like, it's like the perfect walking temperature right now, is what I've found, is we're not dripping sweat by the end, but we're also not having to bundle up. Um, and I love that you're getting stronger and that's what you're working on. I love when people want to get stronger. It is my favorite thing to do as well. Well, happy to have you here. I see we have Cherry live on Facebook. Cherry, drop in the comments who you are, where you're from, and what you're working on this week. So this week we are talking about integrity. The whole premise of today's training came up because some of you may remember, some of you may not, but back in March, I went on a vacation, and when I relaunched my group in February, I had said, I'm going to show up at 3 p.m. every single Thursday for you guys and serve you in some sort of way, whether it's a movement workshop or something for our mental fitness. In the week in March, when I was on vacation, I took it off, and I felt I felt bad about it because I told you guys I was going to do something and I didn't follow through with it. I didn't, my integrity was not, I did not put my integrity in the right position. So this week, craziness as always, because that's just what life is. Things come up. My nanny kids, I've been with them for about 5 years. Their parents are taking a little vacation this weekend. So I have to pick them up from school, which means when I pick them up from school is our normal training time. What I could have done is cancel the training this week altogether. I could have moved it to a different time, different day, same time, or I could have stuck with the same day and just been a little bit flexible with the time. And that's what I chose to do, because integrity is all about is doing what you said you were going to do and being there and showing up, whether it's for yourself, for others in your life, for your business, whoever it is. It's about showing up. So made me start thinking about how we usually lack integrity in all different areas. When I say integrity, how would you guys define that? What does integrity mean to you? And like, what does it look like? Let me know in the comments as you guys go through. Kathy, I'm actually going to ask you these questions. So what does integrity look like to you? How does it feel? How would you define it for yourselves?
I always, I have two definitions for integrity. One is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And secondly, do what you say and say what you do. Do what you say, meaning just, you say you're going to commit to something, you do it. Say what you do is kind of the opposite of a politician because, no matter where you're at, you're honest about it in that if, for example, if you feel strongly about, I don't know, maybe even a particular diet, even as an example, you keep that with no matter who you're talking to, and it doesn't change with the audience.
I love that. And I think I like the second part of say what you do. Because I think that's important, is a lot of times in politics, great example there, people say they're going to do something and they go ahead and do something completely different. Or you don't have enough, you don't give yourself enough confidence to stand on the ground of what you are doing. Great definition, great way to see that. Second question for you before we move on to my definition is, how do you feel like you are with your integrity with others in your life? Do you feel like you're pretty good at holding your integrity with them?
I do feel like I am pretty straightforward, and if I commit to something, I'm going to do it. And I will let people know if I can't follow up and do my commitment. I'll tell them ahead of time. I'm not a person to be late. If anything, I'm a person to be early, and almost to a fault. But that's just me.
That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that you feel like your integrity with those in your life is pretty strong and that you feel pretty good about that. So, definition I learned when I was a junior, my spring semester at CMU as a junior. My roommate said, "Hey, Morgan, my professor is looking for more people to join this leadership course." I said, "Okay, what's this about?" She's like, "I don't really know. It's about leadership. He's been told to be a great professor." I was like, "Okay, I'll do it. I guess I need an extra few credits." So I did this course not knowing what I got into it. And it was all about not necessarily at the end, you weren't going to become a new leader, but you're going to have skills to be a better leader. And the first thing we talked about was integrity. And this is how just integrity was defined in that course. And it stuck with me since. So there's a few different ways. It's going to be long, but bear with me. I'm going to go through it all. So integrity is what you said you would do. Integrity is what you know to do. Integrity is what you say is so. Integrity is what you say you stand for. And integrity is what is expected of you, even those unexpressed requests of you, by all of those whom you wish to have a workable relationship with. That's a lot. Kathy covered that in her little definition there. She essentially hit all those with just a little bit. What I like to do is, because it's a long list, I like to break it up and really just go over one at a time. Today, we're only going to focus on one of those. We're going to focus on that top one, what you said you would do. And the reason this one's important is one, the example I showed in the beginning of how I felt like I let you guys down back in March when I took a week off. And I don't feel like I communicated, but it wasn't to the best of my ability. And knowing that things come up and we need to be flexible with our integrity as well. And communication falls into that. And when you say you're going to do something, you either need to follow through, or there needs to be the communication and the understanding that usually is dropped. So integrity affects not just your friends, your family, your coworkers, your business, but it affects you personally. So when I think about this, the biggest example that comes to my mind is that little conversation we have in our mind that says, "I'm going to get up and work out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. How many times have we said we are going to do that for ourselves and we drop the ball and we don't do it? Drop a little hand emoji. Kathy, you can say yes if you've fallen into this at some point in your life.
Yes.
I feel like this happens and we don't realize it's happening until it becomes a streak of it happening. When it happens once, we kind of brush it off. And then all of a sudden it gets brushed off and we look back and we realize, why are we not reaching our goals? So the most important person that you need to hold integrity to is yourself. So when I say I'm going to do something for myself, I need to follow through and do it. How am I supposed to expect others to hold their integrity when I can't even hold my integrity? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I want us to think about, what are some areas in your life right now that you have probably said you were going to do something and you didn't do it, or you just said, "Oh, I'll do it tomorrow," and you didn't acknowledge and have that conversation with yourself or with others about your drop of integrity. Is there anywhere in your life, Kathy, that you feel like you've done this recently? It could be something small or it could be something big, but do you feel like you've had any of these recently?
I would say the one thing is I wanted to get up every morning and just do a shorter walk through the neighborhood just by myself. I've done it many times, and it's almost like a meditative state I get in. It's really nice. And I've really made excuses not to do that. And I need to recommit to that.
How do you feel? So how do you feel on the mornings where you wake up and you push snooze and you decide you're not going to do it? What kind of feelings do you have when you decide not to do it?
At the immediate moment, good. but then, it's like, well, why didn't I? There was no excuse for that. I need to make time for myself. I need to make that commitment to myself and just do it.
And how do you feel on the days where you wake up and you don't push the snooze and you get up and you go right to it and you hold yourself to that integrity?
It's a good start for the day, especially just because, like I say, it's quiet in the neighborhood and it's just me walking and silence and kind of gets me going for the day.
I love that the thing that you brought up was in the morning, because the morning is a great time. And what you do in the morning sets yourself up for the rest of the day. So if you push snooze and you say, I'm not going to do it, even though you've told yourself you're going to do it, you're I know for me, I'm more likely to push things off throughout the day as well, because I've already let myself down once that morning.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
So when you think about those things, setting yourself up for success, keeping yourself in integrity, and knowing that, another example I give is flexibility. So let's say you told yourself the night before, I'm going to get up and walk. It's Monday. Mondays are the day I do that. And all of a sudden you get a call at 2 a.m. that a family member has had an emergency and you need to go help them. You're probably not getting up to do that walk. But instead of just saying, it's a wash, I'm not going to do it, having that conversation with yourself of, okay, so I need to help this family member, but I do know I still need to do this for myself because I said I was going to, and working it into the schedule, or making a more flexible decision of, I have to be with them, I'm going to do 10 sets of stairs in their house instead. Creating a flexibility around that integrity when life pops up, just like I did today. Instead of canceling or choosing a different day, I stuck with my integrity. I communicated to you guys. I acknowledged that there was a conflict. I owned up to that I am not sticking to my integrity by showing up at 3, but I'm making it up to you and communicating that we're meeting earlier so that we still get the benefit and that I can still serve you. So Kathy, when you start thinking about this, where do you think you can be more flexible rather than just shutting it down completely some days?
Well, if I say I'm going to walk at 9 o'clock, for example, and I miss it for whatever reason, 10 o'clock is good. 10:30 is good. It just, I think it would just be helpful to stay with it and to just, like I say, just do it. The old Nike thing.
And they're making millions off that slogan. Just do it. And for someone who has the flexible schedule like you do with being retired, 9 to 10:30, that's a great flexibility. But it's also having the words right now, the structure to say, well, after it hits 2, I know I'm not going to do it. It needs to happen by a certain time, or you've completely fallen out of that integrity. At some point, the day turns over, things start to happen, and things just end up not happening. The biggest one I find that I do is, sometimes it's with working out, sometimes it's with my water, but it's when I get off a call like this, and let's say you wanted help with something, and I said, Kathy, awesome, as soon as we're off this call, I'm going to get you that email with all your documents within the next half hour. And as those words are coming out, my mind is skimming to my calendar, realizing I can't send those to you in a half hour. So I've already spoke something to you, said I was going to do something, and realized I can't even follow through on that. So what happens is, instead of saying, hey, sorry, can't do it in the next half hour, I just do it when I can. When really I let you down, because I gave you a time frame. I told you what I was going to do and by when. And if that doesn't come around, I've let you down. I've let myself down by not following through on that. So when it comes to responding to people, the biggest thing that I have learned is to give yourself a longer time frame rather than a shorter. It took me a long time to learn this. I want to help you, and get you stuff as soon as possible because I'm a very quick worker, but bites me in the butt on busy days. And we can all probably imagine that that has happened at one point. You've said you're going to send somebody an email right away, and 2 days later, it clicks in your mind you've never sent that person the email. So when it comes to, let's say, food, let's bring up food for a second. When it comes to diet or water or eating a certain amount of protein, what do you tell yourself now that you're like, I'm going to do this for my nutrition today? And how do you feel like you fall into that during the day? Do you feel like you are able to hold yourself? Do you feel like you're pretty flexible? Or do you feel like you go off track really easily after one meal? Where do you feel like you fall on that, Kathy?
Depends on the day. um, but generally, I would say I do basically stay on track. And I try, if I go off track because I go out to dinner with friends or, whatever, I try not to beat myself up over it. It's kind of like, okay, I accepted it. Yeah, probably made some bad choices, but don't let that bad choice turn into another bad choice and another bad choice and another bad choice, which I probably have done in the past. Start fresh.
I like that because you're right. We either can dwell on it and it can turn into not doing that walk, leading to loss of integrity throughout the day, having one bad meal, leading to a bunch of bad meals in a row. Or it can take that acknowledgement and acceptance and saying, yep, I did do that. That food was delicious. I'm glad I had that. But now it's time to get back to what I said I was going to do. And being upfront with ourselves in those times and kind of having that little like heart to heart with yourself, like, okay, this can't go on. I have to do this because no one else is going to do it for me. No one else can keep my integrity in check. Accountability only goes so far. You know that. We all know that. Accountability is awesome from others, but there has to be self-driven guidance throughout that as well. You have to be able to decide when are you going to move forward and when are you going to put your foot down and accept what has happened, but also put your foot down and say, I'm ready to make a change. I'm ready to keep my integrity in check. So we got some comments on Facebook right now. Awesome. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Kevin. Awesome to have you guys here. So today, our whole thing was about integrity. How do we keep integrity in our lives when life happens? How do we follow through on doing what we said we were going to do? Let's take about a minute here, and I want you guys to think about to yourselves, what is one thing either today or tomorrow or within the next few days that you are going to do that you have said you were going to do and you just haven't done? What are you actually committing to? So I'm going to set a timer real quick for about a minute. And I want you guys to just kind of think about that. Think about the details of it too. Is it walking? Is it, I want details about this, and I want you guys to share it in the comments. And then Kathy, I'm going to ask you to share as well. I'm going to give some examples as the minute goes through so you guys have some ideas. Is it you're going to drink that water that you said? Are you going to stop? Are you going to stop making excuses? Are you going to get those emails sent when you said you were going to? Are you going to reach out to that friend you said you were going to reach out to and you just haven't? I'm going to own up to that. I did that earlier today. I said I was going to get back to somebody and things just got in the way, and it's not an excuse, but we're using it as an excuse. Is that you're going to go for those walks that you've been putting off? How are you going to put yourself back into integrity today, tomorrow, or in the next few days to get you back on track and to get yourself strong and stable? Cherry said she's going to put our commitments on the calendar or set reminders. Kathy, you want to share what you kind of came up with in that minute?
Making phone calls to friends and family that I need to more frequently. definitely.
I love that. That's usually one that we seem to put on the back burner, and we don't realize how important it is for us and for them. So I'm going to ask a little bit more specifically. Today, between today and the next couple, between now and Sunday, how many people are you going to reach out to just so that you can have a more solid ground to stand on?
2 people.
2 people. Awesome. When you have done it, I want you to go back to this video on Facebook and just say, reach out to my 2, let us know that you did it. There's a little bit of accountability coming from us, but then there's also just you being able to say, like, I did that. I followed through on what I said I was going to do. And I bet you're going to have some amazing conversations with them because it's probably been a while, because those are the best ones we have.
Sounds good.
So we are getting ready to wrap up today. It's going to be a nice, quick one. I want to know, what was your biggest insight or takeaway, Kathy? And what are insight and takeaway? And then, I have one more question. I want something else. What are you going to do to help yourself get stronger between now and next Thursday?
Are you talking physically, working out, that kind of thing? Because that
Anything, physically or mentally stronger,
okay.
Your choice.
Physically, what I want to do is I watch a lot of football and sports. So instead of just sitting here watching it, maybe in between quarters or halftime or whatever, I've got my weight set right here, is just to do, a set of reps. And I think then that will help me get stronger for when I'm doing my formalized workouts.
I love that. I love that you're going to do it during football games and sports, because you're right. Those are just days of just sitting there, and adding some movement is probably going to also feel amazing. And then, what was your takeaway or biggest insight from today's training on integrity?
I just think having it surface back up again, it's one of those things that sometimes gets tucked in the back of your head, it, but when it comes to the forefront, then it's, I need to do that. I need to do that for myself and for other people. And the communication part is key. That was definitely one of the takeaways, is the communication part.
Good. I'm so happy to hear. And I'd have to agree that it's one of those things that gets lost. We learn so much, but this is a basic. We always have to go back to the basics and the little reminders. Like, we covered just one of the 5 definitions of integrity today. We're going to be bringing up integrity a lot. And for some of you who have worked with me, you hear integrity a lot, and you're probably tired of me hearing integrity. But it is a baseline for not just our health and wellness, but for our relationships with others in the world. So communication, flexibility, awesome. So last little reminder, remember, next week, I will be here, unsure of what time. So look for the email on Wednesday with the updated time, or the post on Wednesday, and then email and post on Thursday as well. I'm still struggling with the time change between Arizona, when my flight gets there, and what time things actually are. So once I am done figuring that out, you guys will have a time. We will also be having a program launch within the next month, and I'm super excited. And it's all about keeping ourselves on track this holiday season. Some of you who participated last year may know what I'm talking about. If you are interested, and this sounds kind of interesting to you, drop an interested in the comments, and I'll reach out to you and I'll share the details with you before we launch. There are limited seats available. So if you want to know the details and you want to get in first, drop interested and I'll reach out to you and we will chat about it. We have no other questions. I am going to leave you guys here. Quick little 30-minute call today. Thank you guys so much for showing up, for all you guys on Facebook. And Kathy, thank you for being here live with us. I am super happy that you were able to jump on. I will talk to you guys next Thursday. Enjoy your weekends.